97 people. That is the number that started this story. Not 97,000, not 9,700, 97 human beings sitting in a stadium built for 25,000, waiting for a football match to begin. A journalist was there. He posted about it on social media. He said that just before kickoff, he counted 97 fans present. FIFA's official attendance figure for the same match was 3,412. The photographs told a third story. Entire sections of the stadium, row after row, completely empty. Not a single person. That was the FIFA Club World Cup last summer, Orlando, Florida, one of the exact venues scheduled to host the 2026 World Cup. And it was not an isolated incident. It was a pattern, one that has been growing for 2 years, through Copa America, through the Club World Cup, and now into the build-up to the tournament itself. And the fans who were supposed to fill those seats are not lost or confused or simply running late. They have made a decision. They are walking away. 33 days from the opening match of the greatest football tournament in history, the United States of America, which fought to host this event, which was given 78 of the 104 matches, which will stage the semifinals and the final, is staring at an attendance crisis that has been visible since 2024 and that nobody in power has yet fixed. This is the full story of how it happened, why it is still happening, and what it means for the tournament that opens on June 11th. Before we go any further, if you have been following football long enough to remember when the biggest problem at a World Cup was whether the referee had a decent view of the penalty, this channel is where you belong. Subscribe now. One click, free. And unlike a ticket to the USA versus Paraguay group stage opener, which currently costs $1,220 at the cheapest available price, the subscription will not make you question your life choices. Go on. Done? Let's get into every layer of this. To understand where we are today, you have to go back to the summer of 2024, the Copa America. The dress rehearsal nobody wanted to acknowledge was a dress rehearsal for something going wrong. The Copa America was held in the United States in June and July of 2024. It was positioned explicitly as a test run for 2026. An opportunity to demonstrate that American football culture had matured enough to fill the enormous NFL stadiums with the kind of noise and atmosphere the sport demands. The message from every organizer and promoter was clear: America is ready. Then, the United States played Bolivia in their group opener at the 80,000 capacity stadium in Dallas. Fewer than 48,000 fans turned up, 32,000 empty seats. The host nation, their own ground, their own tournament, their own supporters failing to fill the building. They failed to sell out their second group game as well, and at the Kansas City Stadium, scores of empty seats were visible as the United States lost to Uruguay and went out of the tournament. These were the same venues confirmed for 2026 World Cup group stage matches. At the exact same time, across the Atlantic, the European Championship was taking place in Germany. Average group stage attendance there was 50,000 per game. Packed arenas, sold-out stands, noise from the first whistle. The contrast was not subtle. It was printed on the front page of every sports section that covered both tournaments simultaneously. That was 2024. The warning was clear, and nobody fixed it. Then came the summer of 2025, the FIFA Club World Cup. 32 of the greatest clubs on earth, Real Madrid, Manchester City, Paris Saint-Germain, Lionel Messi's own club, designed as the final, definitive proof that the United States could host football at the elite level and generate the atmosphere the sport deserves. The tournament that would silence every critic and make the 2026 World Cup look like an inevitability. Instead, it became a masterclass in how not to sell tickets. At Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, a venue confirmed for 2026 World Cup matches, Chelsea played their opening group game in front of 22,137 fans. The stadium seats 71,000 for football. The entire upper tier was never put on sale because there was no demand for it. Chelsea's manager described the environment as a bit strange. He said the stadium was almost empty. This was a Premier League club, in a tournament featuring the world's most famous clubs, in front of a crowd that didn't reach a third of capacity. In Orlando, as established, 97 people were present before kickoff for one match. FIFA's official number was 3,412. The photographs showed empty concrete as far as the eye could see. Across the 48 group stage matches of the Club World Cup, more than 1 million seats sat empty. Total attendance of 1.67 million from a possible 2.95 million seats, an average of 34,746 per match in stadiums built for 70,000. MetLife Stadium in New Jersey, the venue hosting the World Cup final on July 19th, was at 44.9% capacity across 5 Club World Cup matches. Atlanta at 43.3%, Seattle at 52%, the Rose Bowl at 50%. Half empty, the venue hosting the World Cup final, for matches featuring Real Madrid, Manchester City, and Paris Saint-Germain. Half empty. FIFA's response to those numbers was to issue a statement saying the appetite for the tournament speaks for itself. Fans from 168 countries purchased tickets, a clear sign of global anticipation. 168 countries buying tickets for a tournament that was filling less than half its stadiums. Those two facts exist simultaneously, and they tell you something important. The demand exists somewhere in the world. The fans who want to come are real. The problem is that the fans who want to come are being prevented from coming, priced out of coming, or frightened away by a set of conditions that have been building for 2 years and have not been resolved. Here is where the walkaway story becomes specific and human, because the empty seats are not the result of indifference. They are the result of decisions, individual decisions made by real people who had to weigh up whether it was worth it. A sports finance professor in Liverpool, a man who studies the economics of football professionally, who has attended multiple previous World Cups, who has the knowledge and the means to go, told a major broadcaster he will not be attending this one. He cited the prices, the climate, the sense that attending a group stage match in the United States in 2026 requires navigating a set of complications that previous tournaments never presented. A German football supporter with official superfan status through his national association, meaning he had priority access to discounted knockout round tickets, meaning he was exactly the kind of dedicated, experienced international fan that makes a World Cup atmosphere, secured tickets to the quarterfinal and semifinal, then canceled. He had seen the reports about social media vetting proposals. He had seen what happened to visitors at the border. He gave the tickets back. A software developer from Montreal, planning to attend matches in Boston and New York with a friend and a cousin from Dubai, found that his cousin, holding a Tanzanian passport, could not enter the United States. The entire trip moved to Toronto. The hotel booking moved to Toronto. The spending moved to Toronto. $3,000 to $4,000 redirected from an American host city to a Canadian one because one member of the group faced a travel restriction. Multiply each of those individual decisions, the professor, the superfan, the Montreal group, by tens of thousands of similar decisions being made across Europe, South America, Africa, and Asia right now, and you begin to understand why 80% of American hoteliers in World Cup host cities describe the tournament as a non-event in a survey published this week. This is a good moment, because if you've been watching this story develop across multiple videos and you're still not subscribed, you're making the same mistake as everyone who saw the Copa America empty seats in 2024 and assumed it would sort itself out. It didn't sort itself out. Subscribe now. We cover every development as it breaks. The button is right there. Go on. Now here is the pricing dimension, because the walkaway crisis has a financial engine driving it that deserves to be stated plainly. The cheapest ticket for the World Cup final is $4,185. In Qatar, 4 years ago, the equivalent cheapest final ticket cost around $600. This year's cheapest final ticket is 7 times more expensive than Qatar's. 7 times. For the same match format, the same 90 minutes, the same football. Group stage tickets have followed the same trajectory. The cheapest available ticket for USA versus Paraguay at SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles is $1,220 for a Category 3 disabled fan seat for a group stage match against a team ranked outside the global top 20 with no history of generating large traveling fan bases. $1,220 for the cheap seats. Published analysis calculated that a fan attending every match from the group stage through the final faces a minimum outlay of $6,900, nearly 5 times the equivalent cost at the Qatar World Cup. Qatar, the tournament in the desert with the alcohol restrictions and the cultural complexities and the heat, 5 times cheaper than this one. And the market has given its verdict on those prices. Resale prices for the USA opener have gone below face value. In World Cup history, that almost never happens for a host nation's opening match. The tickets for the tournament with unprecedented demand, FIFA's own words, are going backwards on the resale market for the host nation's first game. FIFA's president, asked about this at a conference in Beverly Hills earlier this week, said the organization has to apply market rates. He then made a joke about bringing a hot dog and a Coke to anyone who paid resale prices. 2 days later, the President of the United States told a newspaper he wouldn't pay the prices either. The President of the host country, publicly, on the record, saying he wouldn't pay. That is not a pricing strategy that can be defended with a hot dog joke. Here's a bigger picture that ties everything together. The empty seat crisis at the 2026 World Cup is not one problem. It is 5 problems happening simultaneously, each one amplifying the others. The first is price. The tickets are beyond the reach of the ordinary football fan across most of the world. The second is access. Travel bans covering 39 countries, a $15,000 bond for 50 more, social media vetting proposals, and immigration enforcement in host cities have made the United States feel unwelcoming to the international fans who generate a World Cup's atmosphere. The third is the weather of the host. The political and social climate surrounding the tournament in America has created a deterrent effect that extends far beyond the fans directly affected by policy, deterring European supporters who have no visa issues but have decided it is not worth the complication. The fourth is the legacy of the Club World Cup. The images of empty stadiums from last summer have stayed in the football public's consciousness and created an expectation of the experience that makes people less likely to invest in attending. The fifth is the economic shock. When a fan family from Germany or France or Brazil calculates the total cost, flights, hotel, bond if applicable, tickets, transport, food, and compares it to a World Cup in Qatar or Brazil or Germany, the number is so much larger that the decision to stay home becomes the rational one. 5 problems, 1 tournament, 33 days. Here is what could still change the picture before June 11th. The U.S. State Department could announce a formal exemption from the visa bond for World Cup attendees, not just players, but fans. That would remove one significant barrier for supporters from 50 countries. A clear, public commitment from the administration that immigration enforcement will not occur at or near stadium venues would remove the fear factor that is deterring visitors with no visa issues at all. And a meaningful price reduction. FIFA offering unsold inventory at accessible prices in the final weeks before the tournament would signal that the organization is prepared to prioritize atmosphere over revenue. Whether any of those things happen in the next 33 days is genuinely uncertain. FIFA has shown very little willingness to lower prices. The administration has shown very little willingness to provide formal stadium safety guarantees. And the visa bond negotiations, while ongoing, have not yet produced a fan-level exemption. The World Cup will happen. The football will be extraordinary, but a tournament that has 3 consecutive warnings, Copa America 2024, Club World Cup 2025, ticket sales data for 2026, and has not fundamentally changed its approach, is not a tournament making a choice to fix its attendance problem. It is a tournament choosing revenue over atmosphere and hoping the football saves it. The fans who are walking away are not enemies of the game. They are the game. They are the noise. They are the color. They are the reason stadiums feel like football matches rather than corporate functions. And every one of them who makes the decision not to come, for reasons of price, access, fear, or simple common sense, is a seat that will sit empty on the day, visible to every camera, broadcast to every living room in every country on Earth. 97 people before kickoff, in a stadium for 25,000. That was the warning. 33 days from the opening match, that warning has not yet been fully answered. So here's the question. Is there anything at all that FIFA or the host cities could announce in the next 33 days that would actually change your decision about attending or change the decision of fans you know? Or is it simply too late? Drop your answer in the comments. You've been watching football long enough to know when a problem has passed the point of easy solutions.